James Cecil, 4th Earl of Salisbury, until 1683 known by the courtesy title of Viscount Cranborne, was an English peer, a courtier of King James II. During the Glorious Revolution of 1688 he commanded a regiment in support of the king. Afterwards he was imprisoned in the Tower of London for some 22 months, eventually being charged with high treason. Although released in October 1690 following a general pardon, he died in 1694 at the age of 28. Early life. Baptized on the 25th of September 1666, Salisbury was one of the 10 children of James Cecil, 3rd Earl of Salisbury KG, by his marriage in 1661 to Lady Margaret Manners, a daughter of John Manners, 8th Earl of Rutland. He was educated at St John's College, Cambridge, and as his father's eldest surviving son succeeded him when he died in May 1683. In 1656 Thomas Russell purchased half of Whitley Park in Surrey for Cecil's father-in-law, and a half-share therefore passed on marriage of each daughter, one of whom was Cecil's wife. On the 13th of July 1683, at the age of 16, the new Earl of Salisbury married Frances Bennet, a daughter of Simon Bennet of Buckinghamshire. Bennet, who by the time of this marriage had died, had left 3 daughters, and in his will had left them each £20,000, subject to the not marrying before the age of 16 or without the consent of those he named, with the proviso that the legacy of a daughter doing so was to be reduced to £10,000. Frances Bennet married Salisbury before she was 16, but with the consent of the executors to the will, and this later led to litigation. Career and imprisonment. Salisbury inherited from his father the position of capital steward of the borough of Hertford. After his marriage, he travelled abroad for some years, returning to England at about the beginning of 1688. That year, he was appointed a gentleman of the bedchamber to King James II and converted to Roman Catholicism, but his appointment was overtaken by the Glorious Revolution of October to December 1688, during which he served the king as colonel of a regiment of horse. Salisbury was arrested in January 1688-89. On the 26th of October 1689 the House of Commons impeached him with the Earl of Peterborough for high treason on the grounds of departing from their allegiance and being reconciled to the Church of Rome, and asked the House of Lords to commit them. On the same day the Lords ordered the 2 men to be brought to the bar of that House. Salisbury was already imprisoned in the Tower of London, and the Lords ordered that his lady, friends and servants were to have access to him. Brought to the House on the 28th of October, in reply to the charge Salisbury said, "I went abroad young and was 7 years out, and did not return a year before one was committed. As for my religion, when I come to defend it, I will defend myself as well as I can. I hope this honourable House doth not expect I should accuse myself." Salisbury remained in the Tower without trial. On the 2nd of October 1690, the House of Lords read his petition, which stated that he hath been a prisoner for a year and 9 months, notwithstanding the late act of free and general pardon, and praying to be discharged. On the 30th of October, the Lords found that both Salisbury and Peterborough had been pardoned by the King in Queen's most gracious, general and free pardon, and resolved to discharge them both without hearing the views of the House of Commons on the matter. A decade later, Parliament included a provision in the Act of Settlement 1701 stating plainly that no pardon under the Great Seal of England be pleadable to an impeachment by the Commons in Parliament. After his release, Salisbury pursued a case in the High Court of Chancery concerning his wife's marriage portion under her father's will. as only £10,000 of a legacy of £20,000 had been paid. The dispute was about whether the amount should be reduced because Lady Salisbury had been under the age of 16 when she married, a circumstance which the executors to the will had agreed to. On the 1st of May 1691 the court found in Salisbury's favour and ordered that he should receive a further £10,000, by way of a charge on his wife's sister's estates. In March 1693-94, John Dryden dedicated his new play Love Triumphant to Salisbury. His intention was probably to make a gesture of defiance to the new government, of which Dryden disapproved. Styles of Address 1666-1668 The Hon. James Cecil 1668-1683, Viscount Cranborne, 1683-1694, the Hon. the 4th Earl of Salisbury. Child and Family. Salisbury's son and heir, James Cecil, 5th Earl of Salisbury, was born on 8 June 1691. He himself died on 24 October 1694, at the age of 28, to be succeeded by his infant son. His widow survived him until 1713. Barely a month before Salisbury's death, his wife's mother, Mrs. Bennet, had been murdered by a butcher who broke into her house. Salisbury had 5 sisters, all of whom lived to marry. Lady Margaret Cecil married firstly John Stawell, 2nd Baron Stawell, and secondly Richard Jones, 1st Earl of Ranelagh. Lady Catherine Cecil married Sir George Downing, 2nd Baronet, in 1683. Lady Frances Cecil married Sir William Halford, 4th Baronet, in 1692. Lady Mary Cecil married Sir William Forrester KB. Another sister, Lady Mildred Cecil, married firstly Sir Uvedale Corbett, 3rd Baronet, and secondly Sir Charles Hutham, 4th Baronet. Salisbury's great-grandson, another James Cecil, was created the first Marquis of Salisbury in 1789, and his grandson, the 3rd Marquis, was 3 times Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, between 1885 and 1902. Styles of Address 1666-1668 The Hon. James Cecil 1668-1683 Viscount Cranborne 1683-1694 the Hon. the Earl of Salisbury